Let's talk about the treatment of depression. In the last videos, we talked about the symptoms of depression and what causes depression. In this video, we will focus on the treatment. I'm Dr. Praveen Tripathi. I'm a consultant psychiatrist and sexual disorder specialist. So, first of all, let me present a data to you. It has been found that untreated episode of depression continues for 6 months to 13 months. It may last for almost an year. Whereas if treatment is provided, the episode can be curtailed down to 3-month duration. So that's a data that shows that the treatment must be sought for depressive episodes. Now, certain things like exercising helps in alleviating the symptoms of depression, but only if the symptoms are mild. Exercise may be enough in itself. If the symptoms are moderate to severe, exercise will still help, but you'll have to go for treatment proper. And there are two mainstays of treatment in depression. The first one is medications, the antidepressants, and the second is psychotherapy, or what we call as counseling. Now let's talk about the medications first. Medications or antidepressants primarily work by increasing the levels of neurotransmitters in the brain. We know that decreased levels of serotonin, norepinephrine and dopamine, the three important neurotransmitters, it has been hypothesized that the decreased levels of these three neurotransmitters causes depression, and what antidepressants do is they increase the levels of these three neurotransmitters. The most commonly recommended drug in depression is a SSRI. Usually a person who develops depression is recommended one of the SSRIs. SSRI is basically selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It basically increases the levels of serotonin in the brain. Now some people think that artificial serotonin is being put in the brain. That is not true at all. Basically what these medications do is they prevent the reuptake and destruction of serotonin in the brain. What brain does is it releases serotonin, and after some time it reuptakes it and destroys it. What these medications do is they stop this reuptake. The end result is increase in the levels of serotonin, and this is what has been found to be beneficial. Not only serotonin, increasing the levels of norepinephrine and dopamine also works in alleviating the symptoms of depression. Now, as far as antidepressants are concerned, there are lots of myths regarding their use. People think that once you start using them, you become addicted to them. Some believe that there are disabling side effects of antidepressants. Others think that if you start antidepressants once, you'll have to continue them for the entire life. Now all these statements are incorrect. They are myths. Usually, if a person had developed the first episode of depression, the duration of treatment is only 6 to 9 months. Now even that is not a small duration, but it is by no means lifelong. So in the first episode, or in fact the second episode also, the treatment is usually only for 6 to 9 months. Only those patients who have developed multiple episodes, or whose episodes have been very severe and very prolonged, the antidepressants are continued for longer periods of time. So it's a myth that antidepressants are continued for the entire life. As far as side effects are concerned, now side effects may happen. Usually the side effects that we see are the gastrointestinal side effect. Patient may report of acidity, or may report of nausea, some may report of feeling of vomiting, but that is that. These gastrointestinal side effects can be easily controlled by changing the dosage, or in some cases we prescribe antacids. Anyways, these GI side effects are usually limited to the first week of treatment. After that, they remit on their own. Now some patients may develop weight gain with antidepressants. Now that is a problem that can also be controlled by changing the antidepressants. Now there are many antidepressants that do not lead to weight gain. They can be used. And also a large number of patients who are able to control their diet and who are able to exercise regularly, they are also able to control the weight gain. So weight gain may happen, but there are ways of preventing it or managing it. Some patients develop sexual side effects with the medications. They may say that their desire for sexual activity has gone down. There are other patients whose sexual activity actually improves because these medications may prolong the duration of sex. So some patients complained about the sexual problems, others feel that their sexual activity has actually improved. Now either way, that can be changed by changing the dosage or the molecule that you're using. There are antidepressants which are devoid of sexual side effects. Let's talk about the other part of the treatment, which is psychotherapy. Now, the psychotherapy that we commonly use is cognitive behavioral therapy. When we were talking about the causes of depression, we talked about the cognitive theory, where we said that automatic negative thoughts that are coming in the mind, they are responsible for maintenance of the symptoms of depression. So in cognitive behavioral therapy, we tend to target those negative thoughts. We teach patient how to identify those negative thoughts, how to evaluate those negative thoughts, and how to challenge them. If you are able to identify and challenge the negative thought, the resultant change of mood can also be prevented. And later on in the therapy, more deep rooted changes are made, like cognitive errors are identified and they are changed. So usually the therapy is done by clinical psychologists. Many psychiatrists also like doing psychotherapy, but primarily it is done by the clinical psychologist. Now, some patients prefer medications alone, some patients prefer therapy alone, but it has been found that a combination of the two approaches is what gives us the best result clinically. So it is usually advised that you go for a combination of the two. Now, there are certain newer techniques of treatment. There is something called as transcranial magnetic stimulation, where we use a magnetic coil. If you remember, I had discussed that there's an area of brain called as dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, where the blood flow gets reduced in patients with depression. Basically, the magnetic coil is put over that area and it is used to stimulate the brain. So it is a newer kid on the block. And usually we do not go for the magnetic therapy in the beginning, only in those patients who have resistant depression, which is not responding to medication or therapy. We go for techniques like RTMS. There are certain other techniques like electroconvulsive therapy, basically the shock treatment, which is rarely used nowadays. It is kind of reserved for patients who have severe symptoms or who are extremely suicidal. In those patients we use it, but otherwise routinely it is rarely used nowadays. And there are certain other methods like vagus nerve stimulation and deep brain stimulation, again not so commonly used. The treatment primarily focuses on medications and psychotherapy. The important thing to remember is the treatment must be taken as soon as possible. Delaying treatment may increase the symptoms, may make the symptoms more resistant to treatment, and as I said, every single episode of depression increases the likelihood of another episode. So the symptoms must be controlled as soon as possible, because after a certain period of time these episodes tend to become automatic, and that's not a good situation. So keeping that in mind, the treatment must be taken as soon as possible. So I hope with this series of lectures I was able to tell you certain things, important things about depression, and in case you yourself or one of your family members is suffering from these symptoms, please take medical help as soon as possible. Thank you.